Freedom from the 3D matrix, a new era of responsible happiness and a 4D mindset. A film of documentary and meditation by Seal Josephs. Part 2. The power of mental practices. The mental practices we are about to explore are not just exercises in self-improvement like a soft skills course on assertive communication. They are profound tools for a far deeper level of transformation. They offer a way to transcend the limitations of our 3D ordinary perception and tap into the boundless potential of our 4D minds. By engaging in these practices with sincerity, dedication, and a lifetime of patience, we embark on a journey of self-discovery that can lead to greater well-being, deeper happiness, and a profound sense of interconnectedness with the world around us. These practices are designed to enhance our awareness intelligence, AQ, both of our inner world and the outer world. They help us quiet the incessant chatter of thoughts in our minds and cultivate a state of inner stillness, allowing us to tap into the true nature of our mind. As we become more aware of our thoughts, feelings, and sensations, we gain a greater understanding of how they shape our reality. But the power of these practices extends far beyond personal transformation. As we cultivate inner peace and harmony, we radiate those qualities into the world, influencing humanity's common field of consciousness. Just as lighting a single candle can instantly illuminate a room that has been dark for 1,000 years, our individual efforts to cultivate a more conscious and compassionate way of being can create a ripple effect, inspiring others to do the same. Happiness is contagious. Let us share it. This is not to say that these practices are easy or that they will magically transform our lives overnight. They require patience, discipline, and a willingness to confront our own reflections, even when we might not like what we see. Yet, without cleansing the mirror or our sunglasses, it's difficult to see things shine clearly. But the rewards are well worth the effort. By cultivating our inner capacities, we not only enhance our own well-being, but also contribute to our families, friends, and the greater community, helping to create a more peaceful, joyful, aware, and sustainable world. Our mental practice, by its very nature, elevates the well-being of our community. Would it be unimaginable for you to become a local well-being ambassador simply by practicing mental techniques that spread positive vibrations to your surroundings? How would it feel to know that you contributed to elevating the well-being of your city, county, or state?
Our focus of awareness shapes reality. Let's briefly touch on quantum physics in a straightforward way that's easy for everyone to understand. One of the most profound insights of quantum physics is that the act of observation influences what is being observed. In other words, the mere act of the scientist observing the experiment alters its outcome. This is because, at the subatomic level, particles do not exist in a fixed state until they are measured. The double-slit experiment illustrates this phenomenon perfectly. When a laser beam is projected through a plate with two slits, we might expect to see two distinct light patterns on the canvas behind the plate corresponding to the shape of the slits. However, the reality is quite different. When scientists observe the experiment, yes, they see two light patterns corresponding to the two slits. Yet, when the experiment is not being observed by the noble scientists, a wave pattern appears on the screen. This happens because the elemental particles, like a light particle we call a photon, on the subatomic quantum level exist in a state of a wave potentiality, a wave function that becomes, or collapses into, a particle, an electron when they are being observed. Light becomes matter when we direct our focus on it. Did we all get that? This means that our consciousness, our very act of observing, plays a role in shaping and physically creating the reality we experience. So, our consciousness materializes light to become our world we consider as being real in every moment of our focus. In other words, the world is not so-called real, but it's made of condensed light. And if that isn't enough for today, we can add that certain virtual particles, which naturally appear in what seems to be void space, can move forwards and backwards in time. This suggests that the flux we perceive as time in our 3D world is simply a flow of change, a kind of movement that, from a 4D perspective, can be viewed as having two possible directions, from the past toward the future, or from the future toward the past. When we have an overview of the entire chain, seeing it from above, it does not matter from which end we proceed to the other. To understand this concept more easily, think of it like this. Just as we 3D beings can take a 2D piece of paper, draw on it, then erase and draw something new, our 4D consciousness can create any number of 3D realities at any time, erase them, and create others. These quantum physics discoveries, starting with the double-slit experiment, have fundamentally changed our understanding of physics. As quantum physicists and theoretical physicists like Stephen Hawking put it, traditional Newtonian physics is dead. The key to grasping this is understanding the nature of the 4D mind. Similarly, the key to our new era is applying this awareness and understanding to our own perception of reality. Our consciousness and focus actively manifest and shape our world. The mindset we adopt directly influences our reality. Therefore, it's crucial to cultivate a happy mindset and develop the necessary awareness intelligence to guide it. And here's where the rabbit hole gets even deeper. The previous explanation only scratches the surface of the nature of reality. The true nature of mind and reality goes much deeper, and understanding this represents the true step out of the matrix of illusions. Experiencing this deeply in our bones during a mental practice may be akin to Neo's first awakening in the movie The Matrix. It's the moment we realize that, from a mental perspective, everything we've experienced until now has been an illusion. As we enter this era of awakening, we lay everything out on the table as it is. However, not everyone is ready for this paradigm shift in consciousness. Nevertheless, if someone cannot maintain the pace of fifth gear, there's always the option to shift back to fourth or third gear for the time being. And the essence is the following. The previous explanation framed reality from a 3D perspective. However, just as the awareness we possess in 3D far surpasses the awareness of a 2D being, similarly, 4D awareness encompasses and extends far beyond 3D understanding. To grasp the nature of ultimate reality, we need to shift into a 4D mindset and then view 3D from that vantage point. From a 4D perspective, 3D reality appears as a mere holographic illusion, a dynamic flux of energy and light experienced as a film or a series of ever-changing moving pictures. From this four-dimensional perspective, the 3D world is analogous to drawing 2D objects on paper for us in 3D. Just as children in the 3D world take a piece of paper, draw on it, and create a 2D world, similarly, the 4D realm can spontaneously generate countless 3D spaces and manifest 3D objects within them, each of these spaces embodying the nature of change that we perceive as time. Thus, our lives and experiences, seen from the 4D perspective, hold as much significance as drawing on a two-dimensional page does for us, 3D beings. Merely nothing. In comparison to the boundless awareness of the 4D perspective, 3D everyday consciousness loses nearly all its significance. It may appear, and it may even bring joy, yet it is space-like, hollow, a transparent hologram. And this brings us to the second point concerning 4D. This 4D space-time is actually the essence of our minds. Not just our own minds, but the minds of all beings. Our minds are the radiant, timeless, and indestructible 4D space-time. The nature of our minds constantly projects or emanates various parallel universes into which we dive, depending on our habitual accumulations. These magneto-electric tendencies, formed from the polarity of our past actions, negative or positive, manifest our 3D world experience according to the vibrational quality of our 3D illusory imprints. Whatever we think, say, and do creates a magnetoelectric imprint that accumulates and forms our projected world experience. As quantum physics explains, elementary particles in space manifest from their state of multiple positions, possibilities, and perspectives they simultaneously possess, a phenomenon known as superposition. When 3D awareness shines on their field of possibilities, this field instantly manifests into, or is experienced as, a particular singularity that we perceive as the 3D world. Thus, all aspects of quantum physics can be explained from this unchanging 4D perspective. We may hear more about this unified theory of mind and consciousness from Cecil Josephson, who elaborated on it through the lens of dimensions. Nevertheless, if this explanation seemed too abstract, we may just simply distill the 3D meaning, whatever we do matters and shapes our future. This is where the power of cultivating positive thoughts, such as good wishes, speech, like speaking truthfully, and actions, like practicing generosity, plays a significant role in creating a more harmonious and fulfilling reality for ourselves and those around us. Thus, the choice is ours. The mental practices we will be exploring in this short movie offer practical tools for shaping our reality in a positive and constructive way. They help us to become more aware of our thoughts and beliefs, to identify and release limiting patterns, and to cultivate a more positive and empowering mindset. They finally lead to understanding the 4D nature of our mind. By mastering these practices, we become conscious creators of our own reality, actively shaping our lives and the world around us in accordance with our highest aspirations.
Common fields of consciousness. The concept of a collective field that influences conscious behavior, a field of shared tendencies that connects all living beings, is not new. It has been a central tenet of many spiritual traditions for centuries. It is actually an invisible field of vibration that carries certain holographic tendencies, forms, and behavioral patterns. It is a field that is triggered by individual energy fields, or we may say fields of consciousness of beings that connect along a certain topic or share similar tendencies. Having similar genetics, being a member of a certain nation or an ethnic group, having the same interest and even using the same products all create their own interconnecting fields. This virtual connection and interconnected merging of fields happen because similar vibrations and similar patterns attract similar. We can easily sense whether it feels right to be near someone or if our energies simply don't fit. Thus, similar power fields that connect strengthen each other like similar waves of frequency add up. When two of us who like each other sing the same song, it's louder and reaches more beings. However, it is only recently that science has begun to explore the different kinds of fields. The champion of this research is the well-known biochemist and researcher of telepathy, Professor Rupert Sheldrake, who proved the existence of what he calls morphogenetic fields and explained their functioning. He does not consider these fields to be magnetoelectric. However, he has demonstrated that the information patterns somehow carried within these fields can influence and intuitively alter the thought patterns and behavior of the individuals involved. Another well-known scientist in the field, whom we have already mentioned, is Dr. Bruce Lipton, who studied how emotions influence genetics. Since emotions are waves of energy flowing through our energy channels that also trigger the secretion and movement of neurotransmitters and hormones, we can say that Dr. Lipton discusses how energy tendencies, whether negative or positive, affect genetics. He explains that our genes are essentially spirally rolled up strings of molecules. These molecules can be released and unrolled, allowing parts of our genes to unfold and reveal qualities we have not previously accessed. This process can enhance our health, well-being, awareness, and various other cognitive functions. However, there's a catch. Genes are wrapped around tiny protein cylinders called histones. These histones can release and unwind sections of DNA, guided by epigenetic factors, collectively known as the epigenome, which can be influenced by environmental factors, including emotions. When we experience anxiety or stress, certain parts of our genes may become less active. Conversely, in a parasympathetic relaxed state, when we feel content or happy, these genes can become more accessible. Happiness means that there is a great amount of positive energy that bursts up, and these energies flow smoothly without any blocks. Therefore, we can say that content and happy people function better because as their happiness becomes more constant, more parts of their genes unfold, leading to the development of different qualities and capabilities. Similarly, demanding and angry people block their own capabilities. The more people in our surroundings who are happy, the stronger the common field of happiness becomes. As a result, when this field is strong around us, it becomes easier to get into the pattern and maintain happiness in a resilient way among happy people. The happier the people around us are, the easier it is for us to become happy. The more often we experience happiness, the more our energy channels clear their energy blocks, making it easier for us to become happy the next time. Additionally, we may mention that the research of HeartMath Institute of Greg Braden proved that these magnetoelectric fields we call common fields of consciousness are influenced mainly by our hearts that have 5,000 times stronger power of electromagnetic radiation than our brain has. Thus, the more enthusiastic we become, the more it influences our own, and thus the common magnetoelectric field we may call common fields of consciousness. Greg adds that to awaken this power of the heart, one does not need an external impulse. Simply by imagining a new, a better, a most wonderful scenario of a situation as if it already happened, and at the same time to feel happy about it and immensely appreciate it from the depth of our hearts, can change reality. This is how certain native Indians in North America create rain. They simply imagine that it rains and feel happy about it. This method also aligns with Lisa Wimberger's technique for dissolving inner blocks of tension. At the same time, our brain, which contains our habitual programming of the matrix, is not the conductor in this process, but merely a receiving unit. It is not the radio transmitting station, but rather a radio or walkie-talkie that primarily receives the signals. While we mostly hear about neurons in the brain, which represent only the hardwired habits, there are also glial cells in the brain that actually outnumber neurons. These glial cells coordinate the creation and dissolution of neural connections of the neurons that neuroscience calls synapses. What's most interesting is that these glial cells have electromagnetic capabilities. With fMRI brain scanning machines, we can observe how their electromagnetic impulses light up the brain when we think. This occurs both while we are awake and when we are dreaming. Thus, from the brain's perspective, we are constantly experiencing an illusory, dreamlike reality, fantasizing about the past and imagining the future. Nevertheless, what's even more exciting is that these glial cells, with their inherent electromagnetic properties, are connected to other electromagnetic fields in space. Whenever we think of something, our electromagnetic field, also called as our aura, connects to another common field on some level, depending on our connection with it and how the vibration of our thoughts aligns with that particular magnetoelectric field's vibration. When this connection occurs, an exchange of information and energy happens subconsciously. As a result, the patterns of that common field may intuitively appear in our thinking. Sometimes we receive new ideas believing they are our own, when in reality they were subconsciously drawn from the common field, where they were first planted by someone else who thought about them. Here, Rupert Sheldrake's example is quite illustrative. He describes how when one monkey in a group began washing potatoes, other monkeys living on a distant island miles away started washing potatoes as well, even though they had never seen the original group's behavior. This phenomenon demonstrates how fields transmit the information across distances, influencing behavior of beings with similar vibrations without direct observation. We shall also mention Dr. Les Fehmi, who was the first to measure the brain's waves, specifically focusing on alpha waves, using an EEG machine he co-created with his wife. He discovered that relaxed brainwave states, such as the alpha frequency, do not occur when a person is engaged in external activities like yoga postures, listening to so-called meditation music, burning incense or candles, focusing on forms or illustrations, or chanting sounds. Instead, these alpha waves appear when we are not actively doing but simply let go. Everything. Even the act of letting go. Dr. Fehmi's method, known as open focus brain, promotes focusing on the space within and between atoms and has been shown to accelerate healing in their clinic's patients by about 40%. When we center our attention on this limitless space, meaning that we let go the world of appearance, our brain harmonizes more effectively with other magneto-electric fields in space, and thus limitless possibilities begin to open up. The glial cell fields of brains, as well as the common fields of consciousness, connect better when subjects and objects with similar vibrations direct their attention to space. To come back to the evidences shown us in this topic by quantum physics, we should mention quantum entanglement, the phenomenon where two particles remain connected even when separated by vast distances. When the vibration of one particle changes, the other particle, no matter how far away, mirrors this change. This provides tantalizing evidence that such a field indeed exists. And since space itself is a form of information, these fields are accessible anywhere in space, instantly. As we gradually approach an understanding of the 4D nature of our mind, we begin to realize that just as a movie screen can access any part of the film at any time, our mind's 4D awareness can access any part of the 3D world, anywhere, anytime. If we are all connected even through 3D space, then our thoughts, emotions, and actions have an impact that extends far beyond our individual selves. Every act of kindness, every expression of love, every effort to create a more peaceful and just world contributes to the common good. The mental practices we are exploring in this movie are not just about personal transformation, they are about consciously contributing to the evolution of human consciousness itself. By cultivating our own inner peace, stability, and mindfulness, we add to the collective pool of peace, happiness, and awareness intelligence in the world. By developing our own wisdom and compassion, we help to create a more joyful and aware world for all beings. What else can we do? We are all connected, after all, like apples on the same tree. The space between the atoms in our bodies is not separate from the space between the atoms in the bodies of others. Space penetrates and connects all of us. In this sense, we are all co-creators of reality together. Our individual efforts, however small they may seem, contribute to the larger tapestry of human experience in ways we may not have previously imagined. The electromagnetical imprint of thoughts, words, and actions we plant into our common fields of consciousness influence the physical well-being, the genetics, the emotional status, and the state of awareness of all. By embracing the power of mental practices, we constantly add to the common good. We tap into our potential to create a brighter and more aware present for ourselves, for future generations, and for all beings who share this planet Terra we call home.